Hi everyone, it's Ashley at Tea Garden Paper Crafts and welcome back to my channel. It is week 4 of Junk Journal Journey 2025 and due to popular demand I am doing altered paper clips and specimen cards this week. So I released the freebie yesterday on my Ko-fi, whichever it is. So we'll go through this real quick. So here we have the stuff for 1 altered paper clip and then 2 and 3 altered paper clips. So we'll go through those. And then we also have specimen cards. I suggest printing these on cardstock. These are just what I use to show you guys the kit. I print them on plain paper, but I would suggest definitely printing on cardstock for these. The paper clips you could probably get away with doing on plain printer paper if that's all you have, but the specimen cards, because they're so thin around the picture, you definitely want a heavier cardstock for that. So we'll start with the altered paper clips, just getting out my supplies here. I've got the Distress Ink Vintage Photo. I have my Scotch Permanent Glue Stick. I have my scissors. And then I've got some of the larger 2-inch paper clips. You could print these smaller to make smaller paper clips, or you could trim them down to make smaller paper clips, but I designed them specifically for 2-inch paper clips because that's what I use the most commonly in my journals. So first we'll start with the paper clips, which I cut out all of the little ephemera for to decorate them, and I'll show you a couple different ways to assemble them. So we'll start with this one. This is the paperclip one that's on the first page. All of the banners are the same width, so that when you fold them over, you'll get something like that. So I only inked mine. I did not fold anything on these yet, because I wanted to show you how we start. So you're going to line up your bottoms here, and then you're going to fold that over here. And then I like to ink the top of mine. Now for this one, you don't need to do it because you're not going to actually see the top of this one. You'll only need to do it for the last one because they're the same width. And then if you have any hangover on the bottom here, you're going to want to trim that off or ink it. So we're going to grab our paper clip and you're going to want to put the long side facing down. So you have a short side which opens here, and then you've got a long side. The long side should be facing down. Now, here's the thing about these paper clips. You have to decide which way you want it to go, because it's going to go on your journal. So do you want it to be a left clip, or do you want it to be a right clip? On most of mine, I make a right clip, but I do sometimes flip them around. But let's start with a right clip, because that's much more what you're likely to make. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the paper, and we are going to thread it through the paper clip. So you want the long part of your paper clip to be on the outside like this. And we're going to slide it down so that it's at the top here. Okay? And then we can glue that down. So let me get all of my stuff out of the way here. And for this, I just use glue stick. You do not need to use your fancy glue. And I mean, you could probably use dollar store glue stick here and get away with it. I'm going to glue one side. Make sure my paper clip is right at the center there. And then carefully push it so that everything meets. Now, if you are particular, you can also flip this around. So like because I'm building my paper clip this way, but say you liked this side better, you could flip it so that this side is showing. I don't much care which way it goes. And then now that it's glued, I'm going to trim off that little excess there, which is going to be easier said than done. There we go. And then because I made a cut there, I'm just going to ink that. Now, I also like to come down and like try to peel back the ends here to see if they are doing the peely uppies. And if they are, give it a little extra glue and kind of really push it down firm on it. Because these points, these initial points here, are going to be where you're going to get the most wear and tear and where you're most likely to have it peel apart. So I'm going to make sure that that's nice and sealed down and try to trim off any of the little white parts. Give that a really good go of my sponge, which is very desperately in need of replacing soon. I use them until there's like basically nothing left of them, and then I replace them. And I buy them in bulk, don't get me wrong. It's just I try to make my craft supplies last as long as possible, like a good crafter. And I'm not saying if you don't do that, you're a bad crafter. I just try to get my money's worth out of my stuff. Okay, so then we're going to take the next layer, which is this thicker butterfly here, and kind of decide which way you want it. I want my butterfly facing up. Now you can either, because you're not really going to see the back of the paper clip much, you can decide if you want to either have it stick out, if you want to layer it this way, or if you want to completely fold it in half. Because if you fold it in half, you can see this butterfly here is getting cut off. But I would like to see a little bit more of that butterfly. So what I'm going to do is kind of line it up like this and decide, yep, that's how I want it. And then we are going to, like we did with the other one, thread it through. And then kind of play around with it, decide where I want it to be, and then fold it over. So this way I get to see most of that butterfly, even though we're going to cover up that butterfly. I can see a little bit more of it than I would otherwise. And the back still looks really nice. So then we're going to open this up. And for this one, you're going to need to glue on both sides because of the fact that we have the this part down here. That's going to prevent you from being able to just glue one side. So what we're going to do is make sure our fold lines up where we want it to. And push that down. And then we'll flip it over and then we'll glue this side. And push it down. So there we go. So now you can put this one here and layer it like that, or you can leave it like this. I intended on doing mine this way and then doing the same thing again, folding it through, gluing that on the back side, but I actually really like that butterfly and I don't want to cut it up. So I'm going to save this because you can actually fold this way as well and use it as a tag, like a pull tab. So I'm going to save this for a different part of the project and put that aside in my little thing of fussy cuts and stuff that we haven't used yet. I'm going to save that because I really like the way that that looks. So now I have these embellishments here, and my idea was that you could layer these little flower designs however you wanted, and then you could use them as an embellishment on here. Like I said, because I like that butterfly, I don't want to use this large flower for this one, so I think I'm going to do that. I really like that. So I'm going to put glue on my, sorry, got out of frame there for a second, I think. I'm going to put glue on this one here. If you have brads, you could punch a hole in the center of these and put a brad through it and then just do it that way instead of gluing it together. But I really like I'm just going to glue this one. I'm going to keep this one fairly simple. Make sure that all of my little flower petals are nice and glued down. There we go. And then I'm going to use it to cover up that little butterfly there, the little halvesy. And then I think I'm going to do it like this. Yeah, I like that. So that's our first altered paper clip. So let's do another one here. So these are the ones that, the two that are on the second page are designed so that they layer up like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-fold each of these in half because I'm going to show you how to design this the way that I actually created the design. But this just goes to show you that you can absolutely change things up afterwards. Like you, just because it's printed one way does not mean that you have to use it that way. You can use it however you want to use it. If you wanted, like I said, if you wanted to use these for thinner paper clips, you could trim them down. You could use these on their own. They're really pretty. You know, however you want to use the papers, feel free. And you don't have to cut this. Like you could cut that part off so that you have a flat bottom. You know, whatever suits your fancy, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes your heart happy for these, I am fine with that. I want people to use these in creative ways. I want them to use them. I want you to use these as a kind of jumping off point to get you started. You're welcome to follow what I do and do exactly as I do, but I also want you to know that it's okay for you to do it a different way. So we'll do our paperclip facing this way this time. So since I used this side for my last paperclip, I'll use this side for this one. So we will go ahead. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-glue this together first and then put the whole thing on. So what I mean by that is I will glue these two top banners on first. Good old finger smoosh along here. Glue really well at the top there where at the center where the paper clips are all going to be stacked because that part's going to be pretty thick. So we're going to want to do that. So then what I'm going to do is decide I want that butterfly facing up and then tried my best to center it a little bit. I said try my best to center it a little bit. Now, if you are like me and you struggle with centering things, that's why I also like to use glue stick for this because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room with peeling it up and putting it back down again. You just might have to apply a little bit more glue. There we go. Smoosh everything down. Make sure our little banner flaps are well glued down. There we go. And then we'll glue this one down. And I think with this one, so there's blue on both sides here, but I think I like this blue to go against that butterfly a little bit more. So this is a nice thing about this. You can play around. See, those blues are a little too matchy-matchy for me. So I'm going to go with the other side as the upside. And do my best to line it up. Perfect. Love that. That looks good. And then we'll glue down this side. Also, if you hear a weird noise in the background, I have a space heater. I work out of my basement, and it's very, very cold where I live. So I've had a space heater pretty much nonstop. So if you hear sounds, that is my space heater kicking on and off to make sure that I stay nice and toasty. All right, so we're going to make this one this way. So again, your long side goes down, and we are going to very carefully thread our paper through. Come on, work with me here. There we go. And for this one, I inked the whole top. I inked all 3 layers because you do see that. If you don't like to ink, you do not need to ink this. It will still look absolutely gorgeous. Whichever way, whatever makes you happy is going to look amazing because you want to do something in your style, not in necessarily my style, and that's fine. I'm just here to show you some different ways that you can do things. Okay, and then give this a little trim. And ink. And then I can see that my little ends are peeling up, so we're going to do that. Just like that. So now for these, I have these three flowers, or yeah, these three flower designs here. And I think I want to put it kind of at the top there. It might cover. I think I might push it off to one side, because then when this is clipped into your page, this will be hanging off the page. I like that. I think that looks really pretty. Now, you do not need to use these on your altered paper clips. If you like your altered paper clip just like this is how you want it to look, that's totally fine. You can do that and then just save these flowers, layer them, and use them as clusters. They'd be really, really pretty as clusters. But I'm going to, for this one, I'm going to make it kind of like a side page tab for mine. And then I'm just going to put glue on half of it, because I'm going to keep half of it hanging off of my paper clip. So put a nice line of glue, and then what I'm going to do is, just so I can make sure that I get it, I'm going to do this here. Yeah, like that. I really like that. That's really cool. Just need a little bit more glue under this flower petal. There we go. And there's our next altered paper clip. So we've got one more that we can do here. And I'm going to set this one aside too, because I think, and you could do something like that. That's kind of cool, but I think I'm going to set that aside. And I have these. Let's see. So we did one with just one banner, one with all three. So you could do something like fold this in half, and you could do something like this one here. Let's do that, because I like that. That's cool. So we will put a little ink along the top here. And I grabbed out extra paper clips because I was like, I might want to do something different. You never know until you're actually crafting. Something to look, you know? And this is one of those, as I throw it around, scenarios. So I'm, again, going to, just like I did with the other ones, slide this in. Make sure my long end is down. And you can apply this then same concept to using like fabric or lace that you have left over. Just cut them and then layer them over the paper clip. Same way you can do this with scraps of paper that you have. That's what's fun about something like this tutorial, is that I'm kind of giving you the base to be able to figure out how to do this with what you have on hand. So you do not need to use the digital kit that I have to create these. You could absolutely do something else, and that would be totally awesome. But I love making altered paper clips. I put them in every journal that I make. And then I think for this one, I'm going to use one of these circles. These are 1-inch circles, by the way. You can either cut them out by hand or you can use a 1-inch circle punch. And I'm just going to put that there, and then that's that paper clip. And then this is what we've got left here. And we should have, there it is, one more. And then we can get on to making our specimen slides. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer video today because of the fact that I'm making 2 different projects, but hopefully you don't mind. So this one I will fold in half. stay. Ink the top a little bit, and then I will also make this one the opposite way here of to be on the left side of the page. And it's okay that this is hanging off, because what you could do is you could glue it here and then have a charm hanging off at the end here. I like to do charms on my paper clips a lot. I think that it kind of adds a little bit of fun texture to the side of your page. So, but I usually don't do that until the end when I'm actually assembling the journal. That's when I start to add like those charms and stuff on. Because then I can kind of get an idea of where I want them to go, evenly space them out throughout the book. So when we get to making the signatures, we will start kind of talking about that kind of stuff too. But for now, we'll just make some pretty things to go into our journal. I'm going to fold this one in half too. Thread it through. Oops. Now, another thing that you could do, so like what I'm going to do for this one is instead of centering them, you can offset them. You could even do a full total offset like this, but I kind of like that. I'm going to go with that one. So like I said, tons of different ways to make these and show off different styles of them. You can cut this style of banner on the bottom with the little triangle this way. You can cut it with the triangle facing the other way. All different kinds of things that you can do with these. I love altered paper clips. They're pretty much just absolutely endless. All right, and then I'm going to take my little circle and we will put that right there. And then we'll take our little butterfly and put our butterfly there. There we go. Out of that, we got 4 altered paper clips. So we'll set those aside. And next we'll start on the specimen windows. Okay, so the thing with the specimen windows is once you cut them out, you're going to want to ink the inside here. And the reason being is that when you put them together, it's really tough to cut out those windows to both be exactly perfect and match each other. And you might see a little bit of this white. Instead of trying to get in there with my scissors and try to match them up perfectly, I just ink the inside so that it just looks aged. And I don't worry about if I can see that. And then I already went ahead and creased all of mine, folded them up so that they are ready to assemble. And then we'll get moving on that. So those are ready. Next thing that what I didn't do is put these together. Okay, so let me pull up my sleeves here so I don't get myself in the glue. So if you got my kit, you would notice that there are 2 of each of these, and they are reverse images of each other so that you can glue them back to back so that you can see the same image from both sides. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that now. Just do a quick assemblage. I apologize for people that do not like to fussy cut. I seem to have picked a lot of projects early on that all involve fussy cutting. If you are not much for fussy cutting, you do not need to cut these out perfectly. You could absolutely just line them up. That would be with each other, like kind of cut around the outside as best you can and line them up that way. That is totally fine. I know fussy cutting can be really tough if you have arthritis or carpal tunnel. I know I have issues with my hands, and sometimes I just have days where I cannot fussy cut. So take your time. If you need to set a project aside and then try and do it another time, or if you have to do it in parts, that's fine. I cut all of these out yesterday so that when I was doing the little finicky thing of gluing them today and kind of trimming them up, I wouldn't have hands that were already sore. So go ahead and carefully just line these up as best we can. And then once they're lined up as best you can, trim any excess. And then we can go ahead and ink the edges, because I find that especially with stuff like this, the inking is, these are the places where inking really shines, because I can take those edges and just hide them a bit better. And do not worry if your fussy cuts are not perfect. This is definitely, the specimen windows are one of those things that if they're not absolutely perfect, it's okay. It really is. Let's grab our oak leaves here. Yeah, the specimen cards definitely are a little bit fiddly. It's something that's a little bit more precise. You're working with things that are a little bit smaller than you normally would, but it's okay. I love making specimen cards. They are absolutely one of my favorite embellishments in a journal. You can turn them into altered paper clips by, when you glue it together, tuck a paper clip in there to just leave one part out, and you can turn that into a paper clip. You can, once they're assembled, punch a hole in the corner and turn them into dangles. I do that a lot with the tiny ones. Yeah, this leaf is not going to be perfect. That's all right. We just make do. We trim her up and make it work. And then last but not least, we'll put together our last mushroom here. There we go. I'm pretty happy with how that one went together. All right. So now I'm going to set my glue stick aside, because I'm going to pull out my Fabrifix for this one, just because these are going to be a little bit tougher to use the glue stick with. So we'll set this stuff aside here. And what I'm going to get out is packing tape. So we are going to packing tape our little images here. So I'm going to do it this way. Now, if you are fussy and don't want to get like your fingerprints and all of that stuff in here, I would suggest maybe using gloves or something to that effect. I am completely nonplussed about that. Do my best to line up my tape here. Nope, that is not it. But we are committed now. Well, that looks terrible. I think I'm going to set that one aside, and we will do that one at another time, and I'm going to try this a different way. I usually don't try to fold them. I usually do it this way, where I put one piece down, and then I put another piece on top, and I seal it that way. I don't know why I decided that live on a video I was going to try to fold it over, because clearly that didn't work. I might still be able to save that, but I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me fuss with it on video. So, got that in there. Push it down. Now, and then pick which window you're going to put it into. These two windows, because they're the same size, I could put this one into either of these, but I think I like it in this one. Yep, I like it in that one. So then what we're going to do is we are going to line it up in our window and then just carefully snip away the excess. And then line it up. Make sure we're in our window here, and then trim away the excess. That looks great. Cool. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it, and the side that the flaps are on, we're going to put glue around the window. Okay? And then we take our image and we fit it into our window where we want it. And then push down with the glue like that, because then our little flaps can go over it. Now, you can make these into pockets. Because of the way that these are, you can actually glue them down and they can become pockets. I'm not going to do that for this one. I might maybe do it for the bigger one. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the inside of my tabs here so that I can glue it down to my window. And then I will glue all the way around the whole thing here, and then flip the other side over to match it. Now for something like this one, I'm going to do a finger smush to make sure I'm getting every edge covered so that it's going to be as good as it can be with closing it. So then, all right, here we go. We're going to carefully, I like to start by pushing my finger down on this side, carefully close it down, turn it, push my finger down on this side, and then push it down, and then there we go. Now, as you can see, once you get it together, there's probably going to be an edge that needs to be trimmed off a little bit. This is when you do that. You don't want to trim it before you have it glued down where you want it to go, because you don't want to over trim it. There we go. And then I will just glue those I will just ink those two sides that I cut. And there is our first specimen window. It's the same picture, both sides. So let's do that one more time. Let's do it with this one, and we'll make the big one into a pocket. So again, get our image that we're going to use and tape it. Now, because we're making this one into a pocket, you will still see both sides of it when you don't have something in the pocket. But when you have something in the pocket, you're not going to see both sides of it. So if there's a side of your fussy cut that you like better, put that facing the side that's not going to be the pocket. All right. So once again, I measure against this side just because it's easier with all the flaps not being in the way. So let's see. I think I actually kind of want this at an angle. Am I going to be able to? No, I'm not. That's okay. So we'll just cut a little bit above that. And it's okay if our leaf doesn't fit perfectly in our window. I'm not gonna panic. And cut a little bit down here. And then double check, make sure that that fits where I want it to, and it does. So then we glue around our window again. I'll just do 2 of these with you on this video, showing you how to do the regular one, and then this one for making it into a pocket. And line that up like that. And then because we're going to make this a pocket, we want to make sure that that window is really super stuck down and that there is not any sticky bits sticking up. Now here I have a sticky bit from my tape. So what I'm actually going to do is cut another thin piece of tape and put it over it there. I've still got a little stick there, so I'll do another, cut a tiny little piece and stick it on there, and then make sure, there we go, perfect. Nothing is sticky. So that way things can go in and out of this pocket easily without any problems. So then I'm not going to put any glue on the bottom side here. I'm just going to put glue on these two flaps. Okay? So we'll put glue on this flap here. Put glue on this flap here. Do a finger smoosh to make sure we've got our glue really well distributed. And then because this is a smaller pocket, you could, if you wanted to, put a line of glue in there, but I don't really think that it's necessary to. So again, I'm going to use my finger to kind of push down on the pocket this way and then seal it, and then push down this flap. And seal it, just like that. So then you have your pocket that you can slip things in and out of here. Now, one side is going to be open like this. If that bothers you, then you could, if you wanted to, just glue this onto a page like this, and then you won't see the back side of it. It doesn't bother me that it's open there. I have no problem with that. But it might not be the way that you want to do things, but so there we go. There we made a pocket out of the specimen window. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. You got to see a craft fail. We got assembled a few of the specimen pockets. Specimen cards gave you an idea of how you could use them. So again, you could punch a hole, use this as a dangle. You could make them into pockets. You can do all different kinds of things. You could glue a paper clip on here, make this a paper clip. And then speaking of paper clips, we made all of these paper clips, all with one kit. So again, this is a little bit longer video than I originally anticipated making, but I hope that you really enjoyed this. If you have any questions, be sure to send me a message. You can comment here. You can message me on Ko-fi, however you say it, and we will work it out. And if you have any requests for something you'd like to see in this year-long tutorial, please let me know. But I will see you guys on my next video. Bye!